Alright. Day one of the 12 Days of Godzilla, and I know this is not lining up with Christmas at all. I was planning on doing it like technically 2 weeks ago, but I got kind of lazy and I was tired because finals. But I do apologize, but basically this is just gonna go all the way into next year. See what I did there? I'm sorry. I'm kind of on crackhead energy right now. But anyways, King Kong vs. Godzilla is the movie of the day. And another thing I should probably mention is this background footage is something I'm gonna upload later as like its own video because it's just me and my friends talking, but like it's amazing. So yeah, King Kong vs. Godzilla is like basically the meetings of the two movie giants, basically East versus the West, and Toho and Universal Studios collided to make this movie, or they collabed to make this movie, and Universal obviously added their own footage, and unfortunately I have not seen the Japanese version of this movie. I just know it's much better. Yeah, so fun fact, I didn't even know there was a King Kong vs. Godzilla until I was like 5. And the thing is, I started watching Godzilla movies when I was 3. And I was like, wait, there's a King Kong vs. Godzilla? And then I flipped my shit. So yeah. I'm just gonna get right into it, read off my notes. Anyways, I said, so the movie starts out with some bland dialogue about how the Earth is huge or something like that, and a bunch of boring ass exposition goes by. Yeah, so basically, I don't know why I said it like that. So yeah, the movie starts out with like a bunch of boring ass exposition and dialogue, like every other 50s monster movie. And then there's also like foreshadowing of this earthquake coming from this like news reporter named Eric Carter. And I'm assuming I don't even know who the president was at that time. I think it was Jimmy Carter. I don't know. It's But yeah, basically these like news reporters, they explain everything and they give away like all the important stuff to the plot, and they it's like a tell and don't show, which is a really stupid idea. But they mention an earthquake, which is like foreshadowing for later in the movie, and they also say that there's foreshadowing of Godzilla's arrival because of polar ice caps melting, so the UN sends like a nuclear sub to check it out. And there are also these red berries that are introduced, and apparently they're supposed to help with like chemotherapy discovered by some scientists, and they're only found on Faroe Island, and they say that the natives are reluctant to give them away because they have an angry god there, and that's also obviously teasing King Kong. And we also get a look into the wonders of what 60s capitalism looks like. In the form of Eric Carter saying, the one thing these berries will produce is a very good marketing campaign. Capitalism, you gotta love it. We then see the two main characters and their boss. So the two main characters are Aru and Sakurai. Sakurai is basically the main character of the movie. Aru is kind of like comic relief, and their TV producer, who is named Taco. He's named Taco, and I'm pretty sure it's spelled Tako, but in my notes, it autocorrected to Taco, Taco. Yeah. And he's flipping a coin because he's trying to figure out like if the god on Faroe Island is real or not. And he flips a coin and it says heads, and he's like, it's there, it's a monster, so get a monster because our TV ratings are going down and all this other shit. Anyways, then after that, we go to Sakurai's sister's place, and her sister's named Fumiko, and her boyfriend Fujita. Yeah, Fujita. Sounds like Vegeta. I'm sorry. Kind of ironic with the gameplay, I guess. And the latter of which introduces us to the steel wire, which can hold a person up with one piece of string. Then we cut back to the UN submarine, and they see a glowing light in an iceberg. So they go towards it, and they get stuck in the iceberg somehow because their sonar's off. And then they send out a liquid that's supposed to like find it for any aerial aircraft, and then they get blown up. So then afterwards, we get more news reporters with exposition saying that they've lost contact with the UN submarine, so they send out a helicopter to find it, and Godzilla comes out of it, which of course it's still keeping continuity because Godzilla was stuck in an iceberg the last time we saw him in Godzilla Raids Again, which was kind of cool. Well, actually, it was really cool because I mean they kept continuity. Shit, I don't know what I'm saying, sorry. They kept continuity, and, yeah, so the rescue helicopter pilot, he has, like, the worst acting in the world, and, like, he's kind of like, let's go over there, John, they might be over there. And then when Godzilla shows up, he gives, like, the most half-assed performance, and he's like, Godzilla! And then you see Godzilla roar, and then we go back to more exposition with Eric Carter talking about how creatures exist, which is kind of like, now that I think about it, it's kind of like the new movies. Holy shit. Yeah. So we also see another scientist discussing about Godzilla's existence, and it's amazing. So then Godzilla goes to a military base, which is right next to the Arctic for some reason, and in true Godzilla fashion, he destroys it, but then it cuts away to Taco being like, no more! I'm sick of Godzilla! And it's just like, Jesus Christ, man, someone shut this guy up. Oh my god, I hated it. We're also told that everyone's evacuating Japan because of Godzilla. So later we see, oh my god, okay. So then we see Aru and Fujita on a ship to Faroe Island. And shit, I can't talk, I'm sorry. So we also get introduced to some Faroe Island native guy, I guess, who can speak their language, and I guess his name is Guru. Like Guru from Dragon Ball Z. The fat Namekian leader. That I'm getting off topic, I'm sorry. But yeah, he has like a really annoying voice, and anyways, they get captured when they get on the island, and Guru helps negotiate something out to where they're allowed to stay on Faroe Island. And they also give the Faroe Island natives a radio, which plays a really annoying song, and they also give everyone cigarettes. And one kid, he is asking for a cigarette. He's on the island. He's asking for a cigarette, and so, hold on. And so Sakurai, being the responsible adult he is, he gives it to the kid. Great fucking message, am I right? Shit. Okay. And by the way, I should mention they don't ever, in the beginning act when we first see Fumiko and Fujita, we don't get to know Fumiko's name. We hear it after we find out that Fujita was apparently on a plane. Wait. Fushida? Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I'm sorry. My notes auto-corrected again. But basically, we find out that Fujita's plane crashed because he was apparently going somewhere. I don't think I was paying attention because I was watching this movie at like 2 a.m. Um, and anyways, they said there's only like 27 survivors of the plane crash, and so Fumiko goes to Hokkaido because her friend who's telling her about this says you should go to Hokkaido, and then in possibly the greatest visual humor ever, one of the news reporters says, "Do not go to Hokkaido. Godzilla's there." And so they also attempt to explain that Godzilla's heading towards Japan because it's like his home, and much like a salmon goes to their spawning ground instinctively, and that Godzilla just isn't used to the changes, so he has to fight his way through everything. And they also mention the fact that Godzilla is weak to electricity for no reason. Um, Anyways, later on we cut back to Aru and Fujita, or no, not Fujita, Sakurai and Guru, and all the Faroe Island natives are praying to King Kong, and then a giant octopus comes, and so then King Kong finally shows up and he fights the octopus, which actually returns in War of the Gargantuas. I should review that movie later. I'm getting off topic again. Yeah. That would later return in War of the Gargantuas. It fights Kong, and it's kind of random because the octopus just comes out of nowhere. And apparently there were like 4 octopi that were used for this scene, and apparently Eiji Tsuburaya, the dude responsible for the effects, ate one of the octopi. So that was random. Anyways, then afterwards, Kong drinks some of the berry juice, and he gets really sleepy, and so the Faroe Island natives start praying to King Kong. Yeah. Then after that, scene. Okay, so hold up. Okay, so basically Kong drinks the berry juice, he falls asleep, and so they get Kong onto a giant raft, and we'll get more to that later. But then we cut back to the filler explanation shit, and they say, oh, Kong is a thinking animal, and Godzilla is brute strength. And it's like, did we really need this explanation? I don't know. So yeah, Aru, Sakurai, and Guru managed to get Kong on a giant raft and tie him up to it with a bunch of dynamite. You can kind of see where this is going. And anyways, Taco shows up from an airplane, or not an airplane, a helicopter, and he tries to lay his hands on something. And then Uru and Sakurai are like, don't do that, don't lay on that thing because that's the lever to push down to detonate the dynamite. And then Sakurai says, if you do that, then pow goes Kong. And it's like, what the fuck? If you've played the Black Ops 3 campaign, it's much like it's much like Train Go Boom. So yeah. Anyways, but it does make sense as to why they did that. Holy shit, I can't talk. Hold up, I need to stop this. Okay, so then Fujita also shows up at Fumiko's place, and Fumiko's friend who told her that Fujita had possibly died in a plane crash says that they're going to Hokkaido, or that she went to Hokkaido, and that she's on a train. And then they say that Godzilla is hunting or going to Japan through Hokkaido, and that he's also attracted to lights. And it just so happens that Fumiko's on a train, and it has lights. Anyways, when they find out that Godzilla's like right in front of the train stops, and so everyone starts running away, and Fumiko runs away in like the most retarded way possible. Then again, she is wearing heels, so it's not like Jurassic World when Bryce Dallas Howard started running from a T-Rex in high heels. Yeah. Then basically Fujita saves Fumiko after, and Godzilla like runs away, or Godzilla just keeps on walking through the train. And then they cut back to Aru, Sakurai, and Tako. And they call him a dumbbell, and he gets all shocked, and he's like, dumbbell? And I'm pretty sure they actually meant dumbass. But, but the dub was like, okay, we need this to match the lips. So let's say dumbbell. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyways, okay, and Kong also wakes up, and so they blow up the raft, and Kong is basically headed towards Japan to kill Godzilla, and Godzilla. So basically, the two are trying to intercept each other to fight. Yeah. Okay. So basically, then King Kong and Godzilla, they intercept each other, and the first fight of the movie, or the second fight of the movie, happens. But technically, King Kong and Godzilla's first fight, and basically Kong just throws a couple rocks at him, or at Godzilla, and Godzilla blasts Kong with his atomic breath, and Kong just kind of like feels his chest, and he's like, "Oh, I'm burnt," and then he runs away like a little bitch. Starting to realize why I didn't really like King Kong at first. Yeah, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Taco has this thing where like he flips coins, and then to see the outcome, he'll either guess heads or tails. And he was like, heads will mean that Kong wins, tails means that Godzilla wins. He flips tails, and Godzilla wins the fight, so I guess that's kind of cool. So then the Japanese military tries to stop Godzilla by ambushing him with a trap. And it's basically a pit trap, and then they're going to blow it up. And it doesn't work, obviously. And then they cut back, and apparently we're told that Kong is like gains strength from electricity, which makes no sense. They don't even explain it. They just say, "Oh yeah, Kong gains strength from electricity," and it's like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Why? Why does he draw strength from electricity? You don't know. They don't explain it. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm getting really pissed off. It's the fact that I had to watch this movie at like 4 to 5 a.m. I think. And I had to stay awake the whole time. Don't ask me why I was awake at 4 to 5. Anyways, Kong then heads to Tokyo and bites electrical wire, which looks all weird, and then in true King Kong fashion, he finds a beautiful woman in the form of Fumiko. So Sakurai devises a plan where he plays a song that the Faroe Island natives played when that the Faroe Island natives played when Kong was about to fall asleep, and he also says, "Hey, fill these missiles up with this berry juice and blow them up over King Kong's head. He'll sniff it and he'll fall asleep." And it works. They get Fumiko back, and then they're like, "Hey, we need to get King Kong to intercept Godzilla because he's on Mount Fuji now." So what they do in the silliest fucking thing ever, they take Kong, they tie him up with the wire from earlier that Fujita had. And oh my god, they tie Kong up and they airlift him with balloons, and then he wakes up, he falls down when they find Godzilla, and the two fight. And I mean, the fight's enjoyable, but it's also really silly. But I mean, the two get to show off their feats, and anyways, Godzilla starts winning, but then Kong gets struck by lightning, and he like wakes up and starts beating Godzilla's ass, and then the earthquake from before they gets teased happens. And I should also probably mention there's this really weird scene in the fight where like it's very obviously two hand puppets just like hitting each other like back and forth, like a little girl playing dolls, or a little girl playing with her Barbies, and making Barbie and Ken kiss. Yeah. But anyways, the oh my god, I can't talk. The earthquakes hits and Godzilla and Kong fall into like the ocean, and Kong comes out, but Godzilla doesn't. So it's presumed that Godzilla's dead, but you know he isn't. So yeah. What can I say about this movie that hasn't already been said? Oh my god. The movie's enjoyable, I'll give it that, but the English dub is so bad. And I still haven't been able to get my hands on a copy of the Japanese dub. If anyone who's watching this and is like a hardcore Godzilla fan can tell me where to get like a copy of the Japanese dub, I'd love to. Or the Japanese version of this movie, I'd love to know, because good god, I don't know how much more of that shit I can take. But what do I give this movie? I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. Because it's enjoyable, but good god, the dubbing is terrible. Some of the characters are pretty annoying. And the filler stuff, which is basically supposed to explain the whole movie, with Eric Carter and all the other news reporters, it's annoying. Like, there's this thing with movies where it's like, watch and don't tell. Because you'd want to see God or King Kong be a thinking animal rather than just being told that he's a thinking animal and them having him starting to use it, or that Godzilla is brute force, or seeing that Godzilla is brute force and doesn't think all that much, instead of being told that he does that and then he starts doing that. I don't know, man. But I mean, I do enjoy the movie, I really do, and I hope that other people do. Because it is a good movie, and I'm looking forward to Godzilla vs. Kong in 2020. Sadly, it got pushed back to like October, I think. And yeah, it does suck, but I mean, I'm hoping the wait's gonna be worth it. It probably won't, though. If I'm being perfectly honest. Oh my god, it was a pleasure doing this for everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Nexus out. That was lame. I'm sorry. See you around.